Emily never thought of herself as the kind of woman who could cheat. She had her habits, her small routines, alarm at 6:45, the kettle whistling, her son Matthew still half asleep searching for a missing sock, her husband Daniel already sealed inside his noise-canceling headphones. Their apartment in Columbus, Ohio, smelled of laundry detergent and grocery store apples. From the window, she could see the same stray tabby cat always watching people through the glass as if it too was bored of families. Her days were predictable. Drop Matthew at school, grab a small cappuccino at the corner cafe, then ride the bus to her job as a bookkeeper for a mid-sized furniture supplier. Daniel worked from home, endless Zoom meetings with Berlin and Chicago, conversations full of acronyms she never bothered to decode. They had been married 11 years. Stability was Daniel's favorite word. For him, it meant success. For Emily, lately, it felt like dust settling. She noticed Ryan for the first time during a fall school fair. He carried tables with an easy grin, joking with the kids, speaking to Matthew like he was a real person and not a project. Ryan was 41, a dentist, with a kind of humor that untied people's shoulders. Sophia's dad from 3B, Emily thought. She would have forgotten him if he hadn't messaged her a few days later. Hi, I think you accidentally took home our containers. Blue lid, letter S. If you spot them, let me know. She had taken them. She returned them the next morning, and he gave her a small paper bag in exchange. Sophie baked cookies with her grandma. She insists you take them. The cookies were too sweet, but Matthew devoured half the bag. Daniel didn't even notice. He was lost in his JIRA tickets and DevOps dashboards, eating reheated soup without looking up. It didn't begin with a kiss. It began with text messages. At first practical, about school field trips and supply lists. Then, little detours. Did the lights flicker at your place too? Or, traffic is crazy on High Street today. Then came a photo of Sophia's drawing, to which Emily replied, beautiful. And he wrote back, thanks. Then, thank you, again. And the rhythm grew. Just normal human connection, she told herself. That was the lie she wanted to believe. By November, with the early darkness pressing against her windows, those conversations had become her small lantern. Daniel lived in his headset, his we always referring to colleagues in London, not the two of them in Ohio. At dinner, he'd ask, you don't mind if I hop back on another call? She didn't mind. She was simply tired. Maybe this is marriage, she told herself while washing the kettle, learning to want less. That Friday, after a PTA meeting, Ryan offered her a ride. His car smelled faintly of eucalyptus. He joked about reliable marriages being like energy saver modes. She laughed, maybe too long. When he dropped her at the station, his fingers brushed hers, deliberate or not, and her whole body flinched with the shock of remembering it was alive. The first kiss happened weeks later, outside the gym after helping clean up. A flickering streetlight bore witness. There was no thunderbolt, no sweeping soundtrack, just warmth, trembling, and her whisper, we shouldn't. His answer, I know, which somehow made it worse. Affairs, Emily discovered, don't need hotel rooms. They start in silences, in the way Daniel didn't notice she'd painted her lips, in the way Ryan noticed every small shift of her mood. They start in shared jokes over coffee, the thrill of someone asking how you actually feel, not just what groceries you picked up. The first time they were alone indoors was during a blackout. Ryan had a generator at his office and asked if she wanted to grab a charger for Sophie. She followed, rationalizing it as just practical. When the door closed, the room hummed with heat, and silence wrapped around them. We're making a mistake, she whispered. We're alive, he answered. It wasn't glamorous. It was awkward, tender, real. She nodded. Going home that night, She felt like she carried a grenade in her pocket. Daniel was at the table, slurping microwaved rice, eyes on his laptop. She hugged him from behind, resting her chin on his shoulder. "What's up with you?" he asked, distracted. "Nothing," she said, and let go. The guilt came in waves. She hated lying, hated the secret folders in her phone. She hated herself for needing this. Ryan grew more cautious than she was. "Say the word, and we'll stop." She never said it, because stopping meant silence again. It ended not with discovery, but with a drawing. Matthew sketched 3 figures: Mom, Dad, and the guy with the car. Ryan holding hands with Mom. "He's funny," Matthew explained. "He laughs like you?" Emily stared at the paper, her stomach hollow. Children, she realized, don't see with eyes. They see with silence. Daniel found out by accident weeks later. Borrowing her jacket, he found a restaurant receipt for 2 entrees and a bottle of wine. "When was this?" His voice wasn't angry, just focused. She could have lied. She didn't. "Friday," she said softly, and lowered her eyes. They talked for hours, no screaming, no slammed doors, just a heavy recognition of years lived as roommates, not lovers. He admitted to something small, himself. Flirtation with a coworker in Chicago, a half-kiss at a conference. He hadn't gone further because "I'm not good at lying." Emily almost laughed at the cruel symmetry. They tried counseling. Not to save the marriage or plan the divorce, but to at least speak honestly. She moved into a studio nearby for a month. Ryan faded. One day he texted, "You deserve clarity. I won't be your question mark. Either answer or nothing." She never replied. Gratitude and regret sat side by side in her chest. Months later, she came back to Daniel, not with vows but conditions. Nights without screens. 5 minutes of honesty every day, no small lies. Slowly, something shifted. They were still scarred, but less silent. At a school concert, Emily saw Ryan again. Their nod was polite, bittersweet. "Everything okay?" he whispered. "Learning to speak," she answered. "That's the hardest course," he said. It wasn't a movie ending. It wasn't even redemption. It was life. Messy, unfinished, a little warmer than before. One Saturday, she finally bought the red shoes she had wanted for years. Matthew laughed. "Mom, you look like a cartoon character." Daniel grinned. "Maybe we should order pizza tonight?" She said, "First, let's talk. 5 minutes. About your day." For once, he put down his phone. The world hadn't become perfect, but it was enough. Enough to keep walking. In red shoes, across wet Ohio pavement, hearing her own footsteps again.